So I'm here in London, and one of the things that strikes me coming back, one of the most notable things coming back to London, a lot of my friends, people I know, have actually broken up from their relationships. We're talking about people that have been in long-term relationships with kids, even married. And when I was talking to another friend of mine back in Thailand, he said exactly the same thing, that about 4 of his close friends had also just split up. And I think this phenomena points towards the fact that most people don't really choose that wisely when they get into relationships. They kind of stumble into it. And I'm also talking from experience here. You know, I've done this, so I'm not in any way trying to look down on anyone, because this is a mistake that I've made. But when you look at how most people get into relationships, it's almost they just ended up in a relationship. They were feeling lonely, they were feeling horny, or they were feeling the social pressure, like you should get married, you should have kids, you should have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or any combination of those three. And they end up meeting someone from a place of desperation or a feeling like they should do this, because if they don't, like, something bad will happen. And you know, of course we can have the desire to be in a relationship, but when it's coming from this space of like, I need to be in a relationship because if I don't, that means this bad thing about me, or I'm feeling lonely, or I'm feeling horny, and you know, this person is showing me some attention. Woohoo! Like, we all love attention. It's a beautiful thing. I love attention. We all love attention. But that in and in itself is not a sufficient basis for a relationship, just because someone's showing you attention. Yes, it is a requirement. Hard to be in a relationship if someone isn't showing you attention, but that alone does not qualify a good relationship. Being attracted to someone does not qualify as the basis for a longer relationship, not necessarily. Of course, it's a component, but a component out of many different factors. And when I look at the relationships of the people around me that have not gone so well, and even my own relationships, people that I've worked with, people that I know in my life personally, or even relationships I've been in, what stands out is that there were red flags that were missed earlier on, that if paid attention to, if addressed, would have uncovered this much, much earlier and much less painfully. And so I'm going to give you a couple examples of like the typical red flags that, you know, I've experienced, that people I've worked with experienced, that even people I know have experienced, and give you some cues to watch out for, you know, so that when you, or if you are getting into a relationship, like, just to be aware of these things. And even to think of relationships you've been in before that didn't work out, and see if any of these things apply. So the number one thing that I think, you know, across the board, it kind of would be there for virtually every other red flag that I'm going to mention, is when somebody overreacts to a minor thing. So by that I mean their emotional reaction or response to something is way out of proportion to the thing that just happened. And thinking about the relationships that have not worked out, like, I can think back of things that I spot that would have given cause for concern, or even a premonition of the future. Well, in one instance, so one of the people I know, so in one instance, I remember we went out. So what do I mean exactly by overreaction or over emotional to a minor thing? Well, I'll give you an example. So a person I know, they were dating this person, girl, and they've been going out with them for like 3 or so months. And we had arranged a night out, and it was a big night out. There were lots of people coming, and it was a big deal because she was now going to meet his friends and we were going to meet her and her friends, and you know, it was kind of significant because he'd been spending a lot of time with this woman and was clearly like very loved up and wanted it to go well. So we were all kind of G'd up, like, yeah, we're going to meet this girl and let's see how it goes. So we were going to a club, we got there, we were queuing up to get in, and he had met his girl, and we were waiting, and anyway, like, he came over to us, said, oh yeah, she's here, I'll bring her over, say hello. So we were in the queue waiting to get in. He brings her over. There she is, where there were about four of us, four friends, and there she is, and we're all like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Being very friendly, very welcoming. And she was just like, hey, playing it very cool. And then literally, like, hey, I'm Claire. Like, hey. And then literally, like, introduced herself and left, like, walked off. And we were like, what? No explanation, like, literally just, like, said hello, but in a very curt, somewhat abrupt manner. And then just turned and walked off in the other direction. And we're like, what the hell, what's that going on? Like, what's going on here? Like, we were just about to have a little conversation. Yes, we are in a queue to get in, but we're not like in such a rush that we can only spend 30 seconds saying hello. And it just seemed a bit weird. It seemed a little bit off. And it was a little bit off. And, you know, I could see he was a little bit embarrassed and like went off to queue with